Hello, it's Charlotta from Teenyoga. I wanted to speak to you a little bit about sex and gender among teenagers. For people in my generation, things have changed beyond recognition in this area. Many young people, if you take time to speak to them, don't even recognize a binary definition of gender. Most young people feel that there is a continuum and that nobody is either male or female. And also, the landscape of sex and sexuality among young people has changed beyond recognition too. I don't think we'll ever quite understand quite how much it has changed. And this is a topic that we're going to go into in some detail in a particular CPD later on in this year. If you want to find more about that, please go to our website, www.teenyoga.com, where we have a specialist who's running a CPD in gender and sexuality. But just now, let me give you a brief overview of the situation today. So there's a high percentage of young people who do not identify as their birth gender. Already at the age of 11, I've come across people who no longer want to be identified as she or he, but want to be identified as they. I've also come across many young people at the age of 13, 14, 15 who start to buy hormones online to change their gender, and others who undergo procedures at quite a young age to change gender. We can ask ourselves why this is happening, and I'm sure the answer is way more complex than any of us can really understand. What I see, though, is a certain confusion around what gender means and the pressures of both genders, the pressures of what it is to be female, the pressures of what it is to be male, and this concept of having to fulfill a stereotype are very crushing and limiting for many young people who just don't feel they can stand up to people's expectations. So how does yoga impact that? How do we impact their experience of their own gender, and how do we help them achieve a greater sense of self-acceptance in the area of sexuality and gender through a yoga class without maybe being explicit? Well, yoga teaches us that Shiva and Shakti are within all of us. All of us have male and female aspects. We have male and female sides physically in our body. We have male and female energies that need to be balanced and developed. Yoga philosophy also teaches us not to identify with the body or even with the mind, but to identify with something far greater, with the fact that we are simply a spirit having a human experience. That kind of level of philosophy, when taught correctly to young people, can give great relief and take away the pressure that comes through TikTok and Instagram and Facebook of conforming to a stereotype, to an airbrushed stereotype of a particular gender and everything that entails. And when it comes to sex and that literally having sex at this age group, also we know for a fact that there's a very high percentage of young people are exposed to quite a high level of pornography at a very early age, usually from the age of 11, which is definitely impacting young people's impression of what sex is and what experiences between in-sex acts is meant to look like as they get older. And even here in yoga classes, we can introduce the concept of respect and consent And we often do that in partner yoga classes, where we will introduce maybe a back-to-back posture, so a forward bend, back-to-back posture. We say, check in with your friend if it's comfortable. Go as deep as they want to go, but then if it hurts, then come back out. And notice that you're different, that you have different needs and you have different flexibility to this posture. So we're introducing the concept already then of checking in, of making sure that the other person is comfortable, of understanding that we have different needs and different boundaries when it comes to intimacy. Where do we like to be touched? Where do we like to not be touched? Where are our boundaries in that area as well? So all these are explored in a partner yoga session. We've found that young people are way more explicit, way more open than many other generations that we've worked with before. And it does often fall onto the yoga teacher's lap to talk openly about these things. And that might not always be comfortable if we're not prepared or if we're not trained to do that. So if you'd like to take a course with us, please do check our website for details, where we run them continuously online, which is an interactive course, or face-to-face in London twice a year. Do join us. I'd love to meet you and speak further about these topics. Take care.